Thanks for joining the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. We're talking Bloomsburg University football. Joining us is the interim head coach, Paul DARRAGH. Paul, great start for this Bloomsburg Huskies team. Tell us how the first few weeks are going for you.
Well, I can't complain. I think we've played well and well enough to win. I know, as anything, we're just preparing for our next game and trying to get better in all three phases. But I think we've been able to do what we've done in the past: establish the run, offensively, take care of the ball, take what the defense gives us, and putting the ball in the air when we need to. And then we've played some very opportunistic defense, getting some turnovers, getting sacks, and so excited. We played some good teams, but we're going to be playing even some better teams as we go down the road here. So we're going to have to be ready to play.
Talk about Paul DARRAGH joining us from Bloomsburg University, the interim head football coach. Paul, when you talk about the offensive side of the ball, everything starts with Franklin Kouyaté and, of course, that offensive line for you. Let's go down the line of some of those guys on that offensive line, including All-American Brian Clark.
Yeah, I think, it starts with our center, Chris Steck, who's been a 3-year starter and now a 2-year captain. He's pretty much the anchor of the offensive line. Even though he may not have all the accolades of some of the other guys, he certainly is the leader, and that's where it starts. Brian Clark, the dominant player, he's been that way for the last few years, and certainly is probably the most well-known of our offensive line. Just a very physical football player, and I think he's been able to play a couple different positions for us. He actually even plays on the defensive line at times in short yardage goal line situations, so that kind of gives you an idea of his ability and his importance to our football team. And then Matt Filer is another kind of big name, a kid that really never redshirted, which is unfortunate. It'd be great if he had another year left, but he's a guy that also is a dominant player. He's 6'6", 315 pounds, and athletic, and but those guys have been, they've been well known. The other guys that have really been playing well are Christian Whiteside, Ryan Geiger, that are playing guard, and we have a young guy, Dakota Hoagland, who's started at right tackle for us. So, as a group, they've been very dominant. I think it's certainly in the run game, and that's what we got to continue to do in order to play our style of offense, hold on to the football, and hopefully that'll continue. But it's been a great start for our offensive front.
Paul DARRAGH joining us here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Paul, when we talk over on the defensive side of the ball, a guy from northeastern Pennsylvania that made an impact a few weeks ago, Tomas Cabrera.
Yeah, I tell you, he's really helped stabilize and give us some depth at the safety position. He's also a great special teams player. I know he got accolades for, I believe, a game against Edinburgh as the defensive player of the week in the PSAC, which was great. He had, a caused fumble, an interception, and 6 or 7 tackles. But he also has played well on the special teams for us. So, he's a great kid. He's really come in and made his mark right away. I think, you can't deny his athletic ability. He plays hard. He's got a lot of range at safety. And so we're trying to get him on the field as much as we can, both at safety and on the special teams. And it's good to have him because we did not have a whole lot of depth in the secondary coming into camp. And by coming in from Temple, he's kind of given us another guy that we certainly need to get on the field. And he's done very well so far.
Paul, when we talk about the scouting report for Lock Haven this weekend, they're 2-1. Hey, Lock Haven football 2-1 against the Bloomsburg Husky teams that's going to be ready for them. Tell us about Lock Haven, what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball, and then maybe we could tell us a little bit about the defense as well.
Yeah, I'd tell you, we played Lock Haven 2 years ago, and I have a lot of respect for Coach Allen and his staff and what they've done there. They've just continually gotten better, and you can tell the difference from 2 years ago to today, even just physically, with the team that they have on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they kind of give you multiple formations and multiple sets, but their best player is their tailback, number 4, Brader, who I think is a guy that we got to account for. They get the ball to him, both obviously handing it off to him and throwing it to him out of the backfield. I think that and their multiple sets and formations kind of got to you have to be sharp at lining up against them. And they don't make it complicated for the quarterback throwing the football. It's a kind of a passing game that gives him an opportunity to be successful. So, but the biggest thing is we're going to have to stop the run game and get them into some third and longs. Defensively, they're very active. Probably the best part of their football team is their front seven on defense. They're physical. They move a lot. They slant and do some things in stunning. So we're going to have, that's what we've been prepared for all week, and we're going to have to be ready for that on Saturday. So I think overall they're a legitimate 2-1 football team, and we're going to be ready to play. And I think our guys understand that. They've seen them on film. They had some success against us 2 years ago when we played them. So we're preparing for a good football team, and hopefully we'll play well on Saturday.
Coach, tell us about Danny Hale. Has he been able to kind of stay away from football? Has he been disciplined in that area, or is he still calling you? You guys still talking all the time and talking Huskies football?
Well, I tell you what, he just stopped in the office the other day. We were in a meeting and dropped off some bags of chips and some candy. But he does come around. I think he's intentionally stayed away from the practice field just because, it's just trying to let us do our thing. But I've been in communication with him every week. He called me after the Edinburgh game, and it's driving him crazy, I think, a little bit to listen to games on the radio, and certainly after all those years of being at the front of it, it's probably a little bit difficult. But I'm sure he seems to be enjoying his time off. But it is nice to be able to still see him and have him around, and because his fingerprints are all over this football team, and it will be for a long time. And so it's great to see him and have him around.
How much of an influence did Danny have, just the philosophy of life with Danny Hale? You have a conversation with him. Sometimes you don't even talk about football. He's trying to teach you life lessons. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah, and I think that's really what made it special to work for him. He did, I think as coaches, I've said it before, he kind of gave us a quality of life that was probably unparalleled in college coaching, because he always taught that there were a lot more important things. As intense as he was, as much of a competitor he was, he always made sure that, that he imparted on us that, our family and everything else, there were a lot of other things bigger than what we did. But in the meantime, it was also having the intensity and the competitive nature that he had, that, we learned that you can have both. You can have it. And that's what Coach Hale had. So it was truly a pleasure to work for him and coach with him. And that part, we do miss him a little bit. I think the staff and, but I think we also know that that time was going to come at some point. And we do enjoy still having him around. I think the guys, and even sometimes the players, they enjoy seeing him in the office.
Paul DARRAGH here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Coach, are you happy where you're at right now, early part of the season with these Huskies? Is it what you expected? Because in the PSAC, it's one game at a time. There's never a chance to look ahead.
Yeah, John, I tell you, I'm not going to complain. I know this. We got a long road ahead of us. It's not easy to win week in and week out. And so to be 3-0 right now, I think that's, I'll take it. And certainly we know we need to get better. We need to stay healthy. We need to address certain things on both sides of the ball. But I'm pleased with the way our guys have been practicing and certainly then playing on Saturdays. And we're just going to have to be consistent at that throughout the rest of the season. And we've had a good week of practice this week, so hopefully it'll continue on Saturday.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing what the Huskies do this weekend. Paul DARRAGH joined us here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
Okay.